in today's video, I'm going to show you the release pattern every senior golfer needs to have. Why? Because it puts less strain on the body, but it still allows you to play amazing golf and hit some beautiful high draws. Now, this release pattern is actually Jack Nicklaus's release pattern. So if it's good enough for Jack, it's good enough for us. So what is the release and why is it important? Well, essentially, in its most simple form, the release is the final part of our jigsaw in terms of squaring this club up and delivering a good impact position. Why is it important? Well, if we can do this, we can have predictable, consistent ball then ground contacts. We can have really awesome ball flights that are consistent, and we can play our best golf. So it is vital. It's, like I said, the last piece of the jigsaw. Now, there are three key components to a release in terms of how we square this club face up. Number one is our pivot. So pivoting comes into number one, the rotation side, the side bend side, maintaining tilts, all of those wonderful things. Number two is the rotation or the closing of the club face. Often people will term this as sort of the roll release. The fancy word is the supination and pronation of the arms. We don't need to know that. It's basically just the closing down of the club face. And number three is going to be the change of angles, so extension essentially. So as we release the club, we'll be changing the angles, changing the loft as we come through. Now, because this video is designed for senior golfers, it's obvious. We need to build you a release pattern that relies less on the pivot and more on the second two options. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So let's now jump into this release pattern, and the key thing we must understand is the delivery position. So what we call position 6 or shaft parallel to the ground. So let's go to the top of the backswing. Now, as we come down, we want to be seeing that first of all, we have shifted back to our lead side. This is going to help us get our low point past the golf ball. Number two is that we want to be seeing that the shoulders are closed. So they are pointing as a right-handed golfer to the right of target right here, and that this trail shoulder is down and back. I don't want it high and forwards. I want it down and back right here. So you can see my shoulders are pointing off to the right. The club head is going to be behind the hands. It never wants to be outside of the hands. It wants to be behind the hands. And the toe of the club will roughly be sort of toe up right here. I know a lot of golfers are saying have it matching spine angle, but if we are senior golfers, chances are we need to have it more toe up because that's going to allow us to present a little bit more lofted impact so that with our slightly slower clubhead speeds, we can get great launches and actually optimize out to get you the most distance possible. So that is our key position. Waist back on our left side, shoulders are going to be closed, so the right shoulder is going to be back, and then the clubhead's going to be behind the hands and pretty much toe up. It could be either way slightly, but pretty much toe up right here. Now, in this position, how do we square the face? Well, naturally, there is going to be some rotation of the body. It's always going to happen, and it's going to be a very, very manageable amount. But the main way we're going to square it is by throwing the arms across the body and rolling the forearms over. So it's going to be more of a throw forwards and roll like that. You can see if I do it here and I feel like I restrict my hips so I don't start to rotate open massively, you can see how I can start to throw my arms across. So a large part of this is actually the intent of the right arm throwing across and releasing. Now go look at Jack Nicklaus. Like I said, this was his release pattern, and it is wonderful for hitting high draws. It is honestly, you get golfers doing this and it is just, it's crazy the results you get. Now, before I show you the drills to help you train this release, I'm actually going to run you through two key things that we must do in order to allow us to get into this delivery position. So the first one is the takeaway. So in the takeaway, we must be in a position when we get back to this shaft parallel position here to where the shoulder from this downline view is behind where the club head is. Or we could flip it the other way, the club head is in front of the shoulder. If your takeaway looks like this, you are going to struggle to get back to this really good delivery position. So we must be seeing that as we go back, we keep that club head in front of the trail shoulder, because this then allows us to drop it and get that beautiful steep to shallow pattern, which is going to allow you to be so much more efficient. So let's assume that you've got that one. Beautiful. Now let's go to the top of the backswing. The second thing that we must ensure to allow us to get into this position is that we are not the golfer who rips their chest open in transition. If we do that, we are not going to be able to get the club shallowing on the way down. We're not going to be able to get into that good position. So I want you to feel like as you get to the top, you can shift and feel like your chest stays closed as your hand works down towards your trail foot. So I go to the top and I come down to this position, chest is closed, great delivery position. Then we can start to work into that release. An awesome drill to help you with that is grab this club with your left hand, bring it up to a 90-degree angle, and then across your body, right palm's going to point away. Now we're going to turn to the top, and pump the hands down into this position, to the top, pump the hands down. And you can see as I'm doing this, I'm delivering the club head behind the hands right here in a really awesome position. So again, I am learning what it feels like to get the club into a good spot right here. Now, if we can do those two key things, we have now set us up in that good delivery position. So now let's jump into some drills to help us with the release. Just on a quick side note, if you're enjoying videos like this where I'm building a senior golfer's swing, comment down below that you are so I know to make more of them. Also, be sure to support the channel by giving it a like and subscribe. So let's now jump into the first drill, and this is going to be an awesome drill to help you learn this release pattern. So what I want you to do is grip the club where you normally would with your trail hand. Take your lead hand and place it on your trail shoulder. Now you're going to apply a little bit of a force back this way in order to learn what it feels like to keep that trail shoulder back. Now, as you come down into this delivery position, you can see I'm applying a force back with that left hand, and I'm going to now feel like I can throw my right arm across my body and release it as I keep a little bit of force on that trail shoulder. So what this is doing is it's training me to start to learn what it feels like to actually release this arm across the body. Because when I get golfers into this position, this is the hardest thing that they struggle with, is that intent of that trail arm working across as it also rotates over. So there are sort of two analogies I can give you here. Number one, it's as if you're trying to shake hands with somebody here. And number two, if I was to get you to sort of set up to this golf ball, and I'm just going to come just inside this ball, I would place the tee 3 to 4 inches past where the ball is, and I would say to you, right, as you come into this delivery position, you want to feel like you can release the club and hit this tee here. So what this is going to train is this movement of this trail arm working more across the body to get the low point forwards, because rotation does pull the low point forwards. So as senior golfers, if we can't rotate as much, we have to get a little bit more from, number one, the weight shift being back on the left side, and then number two, that right arm wanting to work a little bit more across the body. So if I was just to do a little example here we're in a good position, there, throw it across, and you can see I hit that tee. So that's ensuring I can get that low point just a little bit more past the ball. Now, let's give this a go. You can actually hit shots doing this. It's very, very hard to start with. And again, you're just going to start to feel what it feels like to throw the right arm across the body and start to release it. If you want a little bit more margin for error, just put the ball on a little tee, and this is then going to help you. So come down to this delivery position here, and then pump and through. And that then brings us beautifully onto the second drill, which is placing 2 hands on the club. And we're going to very much do the same thing. We're going to do sort of a variation of a pump drill. So I want you to set up to the golf ball now with 2 hands on the club. I want you to go to the top of the backswing and come down to this delivery position right here. Chest closed, club head behind the hands, club head kind of toe up to the sky, hips are going to be relatively square. From the front of you, we're going to have the pressure back on the lead leg. Now from here, I just want you to start to get used to feeling like you can release your arms over. So you'll be feeling your left arm turn over this way and your right arm turn over this way. And this is going to start to allow you to get into this position. Now, obviously your hips will want to turn slightly for the purpose of this video, because I am a golfer who gets very, very open. I'm going to feel like I restrict my hips excessively to sort of replicate a senior golfer's swing, but you will start to feel like, okay, yeah, I am going to want to turn a little bit, but the arms are going to be doing a lot of the squaring of the club face. So let me show you what this looks like here. So get into a nice setup position. Okay, to the top, come down to this delivery spot. Perfect. And now I'm not trying to kill this ball. I'm just trying to do a nice sort of smooth swing, just a little pump and through that way. So you can hear a little bit thin, didn't quite get the ground contact, but this is why we're drilling these things. We're getting used to this release. This is a new release pattern for me, so I would have to get used to it. So I'm very much in the position that you would be, and you can see as I'm doing this, I'm slowly going to get better and better down into this position here. Little pump, and there, beautiful, look at that. I mean, I hardly felt like I hit that. So as you can see, we're starting to build this pattern. We're getting harder and harder with the drill. So what you can then do is take it one step further and start to do some 3/4 swings. So that would look something like this. You go to the top of your backswing, you come down to this delivery position. Now when you pump up, you're going to pump up more to shoulder height and then release it through on the way through. Again, feeling that trail shoulder stay back as you release that right arm across the body. So here, good delivery position to the top and through that. Wow, that is really nice high draw. Hopefully it picked it up on the camera. Again, good distance, really good distance, considering I felt like that was pretty much all my arms. And that is gonna really help you senior golfers out there. So for the final exercise, I'm gonna show you how I want you to practice this. What I want you to do is set up to the golf ball, take an alignment stick and place it down on the ground like so. Now from there, I want you to bring it in so it's roughly at sort of a 10 to 15 degree angle right here. Why? Because that is going to replicate the position that we want to be in as we're sort of at that P6, that delivery position there, which then we're able to release it over just like so. And this is going to be an awesome little reference guide going, okay, get the club down to this position. I feel like my shoulders also sort of want to match that line as well. And then I can let my arms sort of release across my body. It might also feel like as you're doing this, you're sort of going from this position here low to a nice high sort of rotated position on the way through. Again, producing that beautiful high draw. Here's hopefully what it should look like. And that is, wow, that's a really nice draw there, 10 yards, probably 150 yards carry, somewhere around that region right there. Sure, it would have picked it up on the camera, the distance. And again, considering, by the way, my 9.9 usually flies about 155. If I am fully going at it, it's about 155 carry. If I can get this even to 150, that's going to be very, very impressive and shows you how you can still generate a lot of speed doing this. Let me do it one more time. Let me really try and feel like I put a lot of speed into the arms there. Here. I really went after that one. That's probably flown just as far as my normal one has, to be honest. So that is going to be the best release pattern for senior golfers who do struggle with rotation. Now, if you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe. And if you need more one-to-one help, I offer online coaching on the Skillist platform. I can help you build your perfect swing.